Classic in North Carolina. AW100 event on hard courts. Eala was ranked around 144 in the world. Zarazúa was 104. In the quarterfinals, Eala took the first set 6-3, looking every bit the sharper player. And then something shifted. Zarazúa, who is nothing if not stubborn, started finding depth on her returns, started pushing Eala into longer rallies, started making the Filipina play one more ball than she wanted to play. The second set went to Zarazúa 6-4. The third went 6-3. It was a full reversal, the kind that only happens when one player figures something out mid-match and the other can't adjust quickly enough. That was 2 years ago. The distance between who Alex Eala was and who Alex Eala is now can be measured in numbers that almost seem fictional. She entered 2025 ranked outside the top 140. She enters Wimbledon 2026 as the 29th seed, the first Filipino singles player, male or female, to earn a seeding at any Grand Slam in the history of the sport. Her 2026 season reads 27 wins against 17 losses. She has beaten top 10 players Iga Swiatek, Madison Keys, Elena Rybakina, and Alina Svitolina. She won a grass court title in Birmingham 3 weeks ago, fighting back from a set down against Nikola Bartankova to win in 3 sets, then ran through the Berlin Open draw beating Donna Vekic, Rybakina, and Svitolina before Linda Noskova stopped her in the semifinals. Her grass court record in 2026 stands at 9 wins and 3 losses. The girl who lost to Zarazúa in Kerry doesn't exist anymore. Or more precisely, she still exists, but she's been buried under 100 layers of tournament experience, tactical refinement, and physical maturation that have turned her into something qualitatively different. Zarazúa's trajectory since that match has been respectable but uneven. She reached a career-high ranking of 51 in November 2024 after winning the WTA 125 title in Charleston. In 2025, she produced the signature result of her career, a first-round upset of world number 6 Madison Keys at the U.S. Open, becoming the first Mexican woman to defeat a top 10 player at a Grand Slam since Angelica Gavaldon beat Jana Novotná in Australia in 1995. She won another WTA 125 title in Austin. But 2026 has been a grind. Her overall record sits at 20 wins and 21 losses. Her recent form is poor, 3 wins in her last 10 matches. She's been beaten by Sinyu Wang, Diana Schneider, and Barbara Krejcikova in her grass court tune-up events, all in straight sets. The exception was qualifying for Bad Homburg, where she picked up a win over Mariella them before falling to Wang. It's an honest ledger. It says a player who is fighting but not finding the results she needs. Now here is where the analysis has to go beyond rankings and seasonal records, because this match is going to be decided by specifics. The first and most obvious specific is height. Alex Eala is 5'9". Renata Zarazúa is 5'3". On a grass court, where the serve skids low and fast, where the ball stays beneath your shoulders more often than on any other surface, that 6-inch difference matters enormously. Eala's left-handed delivery, which has improved markedly over the past year even though it remains a work in progress, generates enough kick and angle on grass to put a shorter player immediately on the defensive. Zarazúa's serve, by contrast, averages 0.7 aces per match for the season. On grass, where unreturned serves account for a higher proportion of points won than on clay or hard courts, that number is a problem. She simply cannot generate the pace or height required to win free points consistently against a player of Eala's return caliber. And Eala's return game is where this matchup becomes particularly lopsided. The Filipina's ability to read serve direction and step inside the baseline has been the defining tactical feature of her 2026 season. In Berlin, she broke Rybakina's serve multiple times, and Rybakina's serve is one of the most formidable weapons in all of women's tennis. Zarazúa's serve is not in the same conversation. Eala won 35.5% of return games across her 2026 season overall, but that number inflates on grass, where her flat ball striking and quick hands allow her to take time away from opponents who rely on spin and depth rather than raw pace. This is precisely Zarazúa's profile. The Mexican's game is built around counterpunching. She's a right-handed player who thrives in extended rallies, who uses disguise and touch to create openings, who hits drop shots that have become a social media staple. There's a clip from the 2026 Charleston Open where she hits a drop shot from behind the baseline that the WTA's official account posted as a standalone highlight. She's a crafty, intelligent player who understands geometry and knows how to disrupt rhythm. On clay, where the ball sits up and rallies develop naturally, these skills are devastating. She upset Hailey Baptiste from a set and a breakdown in Charleston this year by doing exactly this, surviving, disrupting, making Baptiste play uncomfortable tennis until the errors piled up. On grass, these same skills become harder to execute because the ball doesn't cooperate. It doesn't sit up. It skids through. It rewards the player who gets to it first and hits through it, not the player who absorbs and redirects. Eala is a hitter. She takes the ball early, drives through her forehand, and on grass, the reduced bounce means her flat, penetrating ground strokes stay low and fast. Zarazúa, at 5'3", has to work harder than almost anyone on tour just to get underneath balls that are already below the average player's strike zone. It's not an insurmountable problem. She's competed on grass before and won matches, including her maiden Wimbledon victory over Janina Wickmeyer in 2025. But it does mean she starts from a position of physical disadvantage that can only be compensated through execution, touch, and mental endurance. Let's talk about the mental dimension, because it may be the one area where Zarazúa holds a genuine edge. She has been through more than Eala has. That's not a criticism of Eala, it's simply arithmetic. Zarazúa is 28. She turned professional in 2012, when Eala was 7 years old. She spent years grinding through ITF events in provincial towns across Europe and the Americas. She survived a pandemic that froze her momentum. She waited until she was 26 to crack the top 100. She has 18 Billie Jean King Cup ties under her belt playing for Mexico, a country with even less tennis infrastructure than the Philippines. She beat Sloane Stephens, ranked 270 in the world in Acapulco in 2020, and nearly reached the final as a wild card on home soil. She has seen every version of adversity this sport can produce, and she is still here. That matters in a Grand Slam first round, where nerves are real and experience under pressure is currency. But Eala's own big match credentials have grown dramatically. She has played quarterfinals and semifinals at WTA 500 events. She took a set off Swiatek and beat Keys at the 2025 Miami Open. She saved championship point in last year's Eastbourne final before losing to Maya Joint. She fought back from a set down to win a title in Birmingham with the crowd on its feet. The nervous, inconsistent teenager from the 2024 ITF circuit has been replaced by a player who competes with intensity and composure in high-leverage moments. The only recent evidence of a significant collapse came at Queen's Club 2 weeks ago, where Iva Jovic dismantled her 6-2, 6-2 in the second round. That loss snapped a 6-match grass court winning streak and raised the question of whether Eala can handle opponents who take away her time the way Jovic did, by serving huge and stepping in to dominate from the first ball. Zarazúa does not play that way. She cannot take time away from Eala through pace because she doesn't generate it. Her path to winning requires a different approach entirely. She needs to slow the match down, to lengthen rallies, to pull Eala wide and then drop the ball short, to disrupt the tempo that Eala wants to impose. She needs Eala to overhit. She needs the Filipina to go for too much on too many returns, to spray errors trying to end points quickly, to become impatient with the grind. It's a legitimate tactical plan. Zarazúa has executed it before, including in that Kerry match, but on grass, the surface itself fights against it. The ball doesn't bounce high enough for Zarazúa to loop heavy topspin. It doesn't sit in the rally long enough for her counterpunching to take effect. She has to manufacture extended exchanges on a surface that naturally shortens them. There is also the doubles history to consider, and I don't mean sentimentally. I mean tactically. Eala and Zarazúa partnered at the 2025 French Open, where they won a first-round match before losing in the second round. They also played doubles together at the 2026 Auckland Classic. During those partnerships, Each player spent hours watching the other serve, return, volley, and move at close range. Eala knows Zarazua's serve patterns. She knows the Mexican tends to go out wide on the ad court when she's under pressure. She knows the second serve sits up. And Zarazúa knows Eala's tendencies too. She knows the Filipina's forehand inside out is her setup shot. She knows the backhand can be attacked if you keep the ball deep. She knows the serve can be erratic. Mutual scouting through partnership is a double-edged blade, but the edge cuts deeper for the player with more weapons to deploy, and right now that player is Eala. Beyond this first round, the Wimbledon draw has placed a tantalizing possibility in Eala's bracket. If she wins, her second-round opponent will be either Serena Williams, yes, that Serena Williams, now 44 years old and playing on a wild card after years away from the tour, or Australia's Maya Joint, the world number 53 who beat Eala in last year's Eastbourne final. Both matchups carry enormous narrative weight. A meeting with Serena would be one of the most talked-about matches of the entire tournament, a 21-year-old Filipina seated at her first Grand Slam against the most decorated champion in the history of the women's game. A rematch with Joint would offer Eala a chance to avenge the loss that haunted her entire second half of 2025. Neither of those possibilities exist if Eala doesn't take care of business against Zarazúa first, and this is where focus becomes the story. When you're a young player with a luminous second-round matchup sitting there in the bracket, it's natural to look ahead. It's natural to assume the first round is a formality. Zarazúa's recent form, that 3-7 record in her last 10 matches, makes it easy to dismiss her. But she is a veteran who has won matches at every Grand Slam she's played. She is coached by her brother Patricio, who played college tennis and has been with her through every phase of her career. She has the emotional fortitude of someone who has been written off many times before and has always found a way back. She is not going to show up at the All England Club and give Alex Eala a free pass. Still, the evidence points in one direction. Eala is the better player right now. She is playing on her best surface. She is carrying momentum from a title and a semi-final in her last 2 grass court events. She has the serve, the return game, and the physicality to dictate the tempo of this match from the first point. Zarazúa will make it competitive. She will find moments where her touch and intelligence create openings. She will probably win some extended rallies and produce at least one shot that makes the highlight reels. But over 2 or 3 sets on grass, the accumulation of pressure from Eala's game should be too much.